Hello students, welcome to Legacy as Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the protocol that India has put in place to control and manage the defense export to the other countries. And why we are discussing about this, let us try to understand the context of this particular topic. So, in this regard, the Ministry of External Affairs recently has given a statement where it has talked about the robust regulatory and legal framework that India has instituted in its policy that governs the strategic trade between several countries with which India enjoys trade ties, including in the defense related goods and items. It was responding to a US media report that has come few days earlier, which MEA has termed as factually incorrect and misleading in nature. And in this particular media report, it has said and alleged that Defence Public Sector Undertaking of India, that is HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, it has supplied the items that it sourced from the United Kingdom, that a British firm, to the Russia, which the media report has claimed is illegal as per the international laws. Now, what exactly or how exactly MEA has responded? So, first of all, it has clearly said that this is a factually incorrect and misleading statement, and the Indian entity that is mentioned in the report, that allegedly the report is saying, the media report is saying that that has transferred the technology and the systems to Russia, it has scrupulously followed all the international obligation as far as the strategic trade controls and the end user commitments are made. Second, also it has said that the report has tried to frame issues and distort the facts to suit a certain kind of political narrative. If you look at the report, it also has targeted a politician from the United Kingdom who has received, a political party actually we can say in the Britain, which has received a large funding from the organization which has transferred the technology and system to the HAL. So it can also be linked to the domestic political disturbances in United Kingdom or Britain. There have been similar allegations in the past also in the last couple of years, especially after the beginning of the Ukraine war in 2022. So this is not the first time such an allegation has been made, and this also points to the fact that there has been complete breakdown of relation between the Western Bloc such as US, UK and other European countries and the Russia, and that is why such reports have become much more common now. Now, we have discussed in the beginning of video, which MEI has clearly stated that India has put in place a robust regulatory system which controls and regulates the export of the defense related goods. So, why is the regulation important? Now, first of all, we have to understand when we talk about the strategic trade control or export control, the one major region why it not only exists within a domestic level or within what you can call as the domestically within a country, but also at the international and global level, is to prevent the proliferation of WMD, that is the weapons of mass destruction, and their delivery systems, specifically if the technology or the goods and items fall in the wrong hands, such as terrorist organization or what you can call as a rogue state. So as well as the uncontrolled transfer of conventional arms or military items are also governed by the strategic trade control or export control regime or regulations. Now, India has maintained a harmonized list on the export control of dual use and the military items, and this include even software and technologies. That means when talking about the export of the defense or military related good, it does not only restrict to the hardware sale, it also encompasses the software and technologies, because these also have potential that can be used the civilian or industrial applications where they have of this kind of software. They can also be used for military purposes as well as for the development of WMD. So it is restricted or permitted under an export authorization or license. Without this, no company of India, whether it is the public sector company or private sector company, can export or transfer such kind of systems, whether it is software or hardware, to the other countries. So regulation is very, very important. Why? Again, because to ensure that the proliferation of WMD we do not see. Now, the significance for India we have to understand from the fact that in the recent time, we have seen a huge increase in the overall defense export from India. And if you look at this particular data, if you compare in year 2013 and 14, in that particular fiscal year, the total defense export from India stood just at a meager sum of 686 crore. And you compare that to the 23-24, we have increased our defense exports to a tune of 21,000 crore. Not only that, as per the recent report of the Ministry of Defense, it has said that we are going to reach a target, or basically they have set a target to reach a figure of 50,000 crore in terms of defense export by the end of year 2029. And that is why it is also in India's interest when such effective export controls measures are maintained, it is critical for India to significantly expand its scope of export. Initial days of the Gaza offensive, when we talk about the transfer of the defense related goods or technology or software to the Russia, India clearly has a clear stand on that, and this also was seen in the two cases in the last few years. For example, we know that on the October 7, 2023, when Hamas entered into the territory of Israel, and as a retaliatory move, Israel attacked and what you can call as when it involved in the offensive to Gaza, it had demanded, basically not demanded, we can say it has requested artillery cells from India, but India took a policy decision not to supply them. Similarly, when the Russia-Ukraine war broke out, India took a stand of neutrality and it decided that it will not supply any kind of kinetic equipment either to Russia or Ukraine. So that is why, because of such kind of policy that India has, any question of transferring or illegal transfer, uncontrolled transfer of technology from India to Russia does not come into picture or cannot be what you can call as this justified. So that is why India has clearly rejected it as a baseless claim. Now, when we talk about the key defense export that India has, we can take a look at the chart as well, because as we have discussed, the defense export from India has continuous risen, but the highest percentage of this export are made of ships. Then second, we have the armored vehicles, then we have the sensors, second highest is the aircraft. So ships, aircraft, censored, armored vehicles, artilleries, then missiles, and then a small percentage of the engines related to the defense sector. These are what make up the key defense exports from India. Now, when we talk about the licensing system, as we have discussed that export control system exists not only domestically but also at the global level, and India is a responsible member and signatory of many such international conventions. The most important in the case of disarmament and non-proliferation being the CWC and BWC, that is the Chemical Weapons Convention and the Biological Weapons Convention. Noting that India is also a member of major multilateral export control regime. Three of these are the MTCR. MTCR stands for Missile Technology Control Regime, where it is prohibited, or basically there is a regulation that is put in place that any kind of missile which is able to carry more than 500 kilograms of payload to a distance of more than 300 km is basically restricted to be exported. Second, Wassenaar arrangement that controls the export of munitions and military items. And then you have the Australia group that again focuses upon controlling the export of biological and chemical weapons. So these are not a binding treaty, but still India adheres to all these treaties, all these export control regime, and its different export is a testament that how India respects all this agreement as such. So in line with all this, India maintains a list of items controlled for export under what is called as a SCOMET list. SCOMET list stands for special chemicals, organisms, materials, equipments and technology. So any item that does not fall under the SCOMET list cannot be exported out. Now, there has been several steps that were taken recently by the Department of Defense to boost export from India. Let us try to understand this as well, because as we have discussed that India has put itself a target of reaching rupees 50,000 crore in terms of the defense export by the year 2029. So first of all, what the Ministry of Defense has done is that it has eased the approval and certification for Indian firms for defense production while maintaining effective control, right? Second is the defense product list requiring industrial licenses has been rationalized. Earlier, there were a lot of such products which the company or the industry need to have license for production. Now, a lot of these goods, your companies or the production houses not need license for. So obviously, it will boost the production capacity that has a potential of boosting the export as well. Third, a defense production export promotion policy has been formulated. And fourth, we can say the DDP, that is the Department of Defense Production, it has issued the authorization for export of items on the munition list to different countries all over the world. Not only that, also we have seen the empowering of the Department of Defense, Ministry of Defense, specifically the Department of Defense Production under the ministry. So in this context, the Ministry of Home Affairs, through a notification, it has transferred and delegated the power that had earlier to the DDP, that any kind of export licenses that MHA earlier used to issue under the Arms Rule 2016, now that will also be done by the DDP itself. So all kind of small arms, their parts, the components, weapons we talk about, now the Department of Defense Production has become what you can call as a single point of contact that will help in the easier approvals, and also it will shorten the time that industry used to take in production and the import and export item. Second, government also has come up with the OGEL, that is the Open General Export License, which is a one-time export license provided to the industries or the companies that permit the defense industry firms to export specified items to a specified destination enumerated in the OGEL without seeking export authorization. So all these steps, if you look at comprehensively and collectively, obviously are going to provide a boost to the defense export from India. So the current topic of discussion that we have talked about is largely because of the report that has come in the US media. That report has completely been declared as a false report, an invalid report, and we also have discussed about the export promotion that India is doing in the defense sector. So if you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more such content. Thank you very much.